guys, hello, another video for you all. More content in VR with my Quest headset, and today it's RC Pilot Trainer. RC of course meaning radio control. Now I've had this for quite some time. I've waited to do a video until the updates came out with the extra content, but this very quickly became one of my favourite things to do in VR as a virtual train goes by. Very nice touch. So yes, radio control planes. It can be an expensive hobby to do in real life, not just the cost of the aircraft, but if you crash them and having to repair them. So if you wanted to get into it, practicing in a sim first would be a really good idea. Maybe it's already your hobby and you've got that itch to fly, but the weather's bad outside, it's far too windy to risk your models. We can do it in the sim in VR. Or maybe you've got no intention of doing it in real life at all, but you think this looks like it could be a lot of fun as just a game to play in VR, and you'd be absolutely right. Those of you that have a Quest 3 headset, of course, you've got those color pass-through cameras, so you can fly these virtual aircraft in mixed reality. Do it in your room, in your house, in your garden, go to the park, go to the beach, wherever you want to go, and enjoy flying in these environments in mixed reality. We do have multiplayer as well, and this is technically free on the Meta Store, Horizon Store, whatever they've called it now. So there are some in-app purchases. We'll cover that in a second, but let's just go to the About section. We can point out there's a Discord server. You can join that, be part of the community. Some really nice people over there. The developer listens to suggestions for extra aircraft we might want, or additions that would be interesting to the sim. So we thank Davey for all his efforts. We've got the frequently asked questions. I won't go through all of it, but we will just go over the in-app purchases because this confused some people and there were some bad reviews which were, yeah, a little bit wrong in what they were saying. So what the developer's done is they're using an in-app purchase system to give you a better deal than the fixed price app. Once you buy 7 aircraft, all other airplanes and sceneries become free. You also have the option to buy everything at once in a single purchase at that same price. So you don't have to pay anything at all. This location, this scenery is free. That aircraft is free. You can just fly for free. If you see some other aircraft you like the look of, you can buy 1 or 2 if that's all you want. If you think I just want the A10 and the F16, or I like the Spitfire, you can buy 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to do, but you can't give the developer all of your money. Once you've bought 7, which works out at £13.97, something like that, then you unlock everything. Whether you want it or not, you get the lot. I just chose to do the one-off purchase price, so that was $13.97, and that was a while ago, and since then we've had helicopters added, more scenery, we've now got boats as well. It wouldn't surprise me if radio control cars appear in the future as well, but because I've done the one-off payment, this stuff I haven't had to purchase it again. So I think that's perfectly fair. Play for free, buy a couple of DLC if you want it, or once you've got 7, you've unlocked everything anyway, or do the one-off purchase. Right, so let's have a little look at the aircraft. One of the updates brought this menu so I can see everything that's available to me and easily skip straight to them, but we'll go through them one by one so you can see them in the headset. We've got the Cub Trainer, which is the free aircraft. It's got a few colour schemes, or say a few free. We've got the variant as well, so we've got a beginner mode and the default mode, and we've got the challenges. We'll talk about those in a little bit. We'll do a section for that for the mini games. So we've got the Heli 500. We've got it in a few different colour schemes. We've got the variants. We've got stabilised, easier to fly. We've got it scale, a little bit trickier to fly, and then there's the 3D variant, which is super acrobatic for stunt flying. We've got the Viper EDF, so the F16. EDF means electric ducted fan. This is actually quite a rapid plane. We've got different colour schemes. The high-vis camo can actually make it easier to see in the sky. This also has smoke pods, so you can push a button and it leaves a smoke trail in red or whatever colour scheme you've gone for, which is quite a nice effect in the sky. But the standard grey can be hard to see against the blue sky, so I would suggest something a little bit more high vis We've got a variant with fuel drop tanks. We've got it clean, nothing under the wings. We can have it fully laden, drop tanks, Maverick missiles and air-to-air missiles on the wings, whatever you like the look of. So we've got the F5J Buzz, a glider. I don't think I've ever flown this ever, but some people are into that stuff, so fair enough. I've got the P-51 Mustang. I like the red nose art, so it's bare metal look. World War II fighter plane. We've got the Acro 300, which comes in a few colour schemes. I like this. It's kind of like an Art Deco look, but we've got a few variants. So trimmed for acrobatics, trimmed for 3D stunt flying, or we can do a custom trim where we can tailor it to our own desires. We've got the Flipster, a tiny little plane, and we've got a variant with some streamers on the wingtips. So if you're doing mixed reality, flying in your house or in your garden, you might find this useful, flying a smaller plane, which is designed for 3D flying, doing, stunt flying. So we've got a cargo plane, the C270M, which has a standard grey variant as well. We've got the Supermarine Spitfire Mark II in the Battle of Britain colours, bare metal, or my personal favourite, the Invasion stripes. I've spent a lot of time flying this. Very pretty plane. I see these a lot flying over my house. I live in the southeast of England, so whenever I have air shows, I see Spitfires and Hurricanes. Right, so the A10 twin turbine. Yes, this has the gun. You can pull the trigger. It will make that famous Burt sound it's well known for. We've got the Arctic camo, which helps us see it in the sky. Silly to say that. I know that camo makes it more visible, but up in the sky, that can help. We've got a turbine variant. I can hear the engine whining away, or there's the electric ducted fan variant. So the Puma 2, two-stroke engine chattering away. We've got a high wing or a low wing variant with different colour schemes. We've got the Sunny Star, which is a glider. You can either have it with attached landing gear or not. And the two different colour schemes. Then we've got the AH-64 Apache Gunship. We've got a couple of variants. The electric, which is stabilised or scale. And then we've got the turbine, stabilised or scale. Got a blimp, which we're going to have a metallic look for, or in white. And we're back to the Cub trainer. So let's go over these challenges, these mini games. We've got the free flight, which is pretty obvious what that means. We can just fly for free, do whatever we want to do. There is the tutorial as well. So it teaches us the basics of flight. I can move the left thumbstick left to right to move the rudder, push it forwards and back for the engine speed. So left and right is moving the ailerons, up and down. So learning how to fly, you can do the tutorial. So we've got the limbo mode, and everybody knows what that is. About people dance and they try to get themselves as low to the ground to get under a pole. But we're going to do that with the aircraft. It's going to lower the ribbon down, start off about 2.5 meters and get lower and lower and lower. We'll see how low we can go without crashing. So another little game we've got is the water balloons. So we can do bombing runs. We've got 100 candles, and the faster the water bomb drops, the bigger the splash will be. So we've got a couple of minutes to extinguish as many candles as possible. And what's great about this is it also teaches us to line up with the runway for landing as well, getting used to circling around and lining up with the runway. So we can do this multiplayer, challenge our friends. It is an awful lot of fun. So the flight recorder is pretty obvious. We're going to be able to record our flights if we're doing some acrobatics to be able to play it back. And we're back to the free flight again. Okay, so let's go through the scenery. We've got the home field, which is absolutely free. It's photorealistic. It looks fantastic. Some people want to know if we can do FPV, first person view through the cockpit of the aircraft, and the answer is no. The way this scenery is done, it looks great, but it looks great from the ground at this position. If we looked at it from the sky down, it would look pretty bad. So that's one reason we can't do it from the aircraft. The other reason is most people would vomit almost instantaneously with how maneuverable and how quickly these aircraft move. So we can't do FPV. You could always do other sims if that's what you're interested in, but it is what it is. Right, so we've got the stadium that I've unlocked. Okay, it looks like a football pitch. Although it looks like it's a big space, it is actually quite enclosed. It's very, very easy to end up stoving your aircraft into the seating. We've got a nice big screen up there to see the aircraft, but I don't spend a lot of time flying here, although we can see the link for the Discord server going around on the banner of the stadium. So we've got the star field. I have flown here quite a bit. I do enjoy it. We're at dusk. I can look up, see the stars, see the constellations. But because it's dark, the lights of the aircraft are starting to come into play. So we've got red light on the left, the port side. Remember that port is red because the alcoholic drink port is red. The other side, the right side, starboard side, is green. I've spent a lot of time on boats and you learn that very, very quickly so you wouldn't collide with other ships, especially at night. So this helps us. So if I've got, see, red to the left, green to the right, I know my aircraft is flying away from me. If the red was on the right side and the green was on the left side, I know the aircraft is flying towards me from its lights. So I can hear crickets creaking away. Yeah, it is actually quite a nice place to fly. So we've got the Alps, which was added quite recently. We can see the snowy mountain peaks. Really, really nice scenery. There's some cows over there, virtual cows that do roam around. You'll hear their cowbells. Yeah, I do enjoy flying here as well. We've got the Icelandic sunset, so pretty flat grounds. The cloud formations are kind of interesting. Yeah, another nice place to fly. The runway is probably one of my personal favourites. These aircraft, these virtual aircraft, will start their engines, taxi out, and then fly over the top of you as they take off. Really wasn't expecting that. It did make me smile, so hats off to the developer. I do like flying off the runway. The latest addition is Venice Dawn, so early morning, but we are by the water, which has allowed us to now have boats. So you can have a speedboat or the much slower yacht. I wouldn't be surprised if submarines and other things get added in. Who knows? I'd be really interested to see what the developer has planned for the future. Of course, we also have the mixed reality mode as well. So fly in your own environment. This mode does not support collisions or multiplayer. So to avoid damaging your lenses and display, keep your headset away from anywhere that might get exposed to the sun. So if the rays from the sun get into the lenses, it will burn the screen. So think people that get the magnifying glass and use the sun rays to start fires or, you know, antagonize ants, same thing. You don't want those rays of light getting into the headset. So when I changed the interface, the visual interface on my Quest 2, that came with a lens protector, like a cushion I could lay over the lenses that fits snugly in there to protect the lenses. If you're going to take this outside, if you've got lens protectors, you know, put it on straight away when you've taken the headset off. So we've got to tick the box to say we understand that we don't want to expose the headset to sunlight. If it gets damaged, it's our fault, not the developers. And then you can load the scenery and adjust the direction the light's coming from, you know, the height of the floor, whatever you want to do. Right, so let's do the multiplayer section. We can do our profile, change our name, adjust how we look, randomize it if you really, really want to. We can create a session, so name it. We can have collisions on or off, whether the planes will collide, whether it will break them. We can have the number of players, so 2, 4, or 8. Only increase when you have a stable internet connection. I think most people will do 4, and we can password protect it to stop other people joining and just give the password to our friends. So if I join a session, we can see with a padlock that has been password protected. You're going to see a lot of people on the home field because that's obviously absolutely free. We've got someone on the runway there. We've got Venice Dawn, which is going to be popular because it does boats, helicopters, and planes. But yeah, got the star field there. Some of these are locked, some of them are open, some of them are full. Of course, you can always just start your own and voice chat with other people. Right, so we've got the sim options. We can adjust what the wind is doing, the direction it's coming from, the speed of the winds, the gusts of wind. So you can have no wind at all, but then just random gusts of winds come into play, how strong you want that to be, the turbulence, the thermal. So I do like to turn those on. They have the bubbles, which are quite hard to see. They're floating upwards. What I like to have on is the buzzard, so you can see the birds up in the sky, and it just makes it look more believable. So they're not flapping their wings, they're using those thermal currents to stay aloft, to soar around. We've got the windsock, so we can see that's very flaccid, flapping around because there's no wind blowing through it to make it erect, but we can move it over to the water side. On the different scenery, it can be moved around to different places. We've got the audio option, so we can change the volume of our aircraft, the volume of other airplanes in multiplayer, and the environmental noises. So I can hear water splashing around. It could be crickets, depending what your scenery is. Under the other option, we've got the virtual remote, so the units on this RC controller, whether it's imperial or metric, and on release, whether this controller stays in front of us or it will reset back down to our crutch. So I like to have it stay, and the reason for that is we can see our aircraft on the LCD. So I know that my plane is flying away from me. Once it gets up in the air and it's flying, it can be hard to tell its orientation, whether it's flying away from us or towards us. Having a quick glance at this virtual controller, we can see that screen and know what our plane is doing if we're losing sight of it. So we've got our altitude in feet. You can have it in meters, and whether it's in miles per hour or kilometers, all depends whether you do imperial or metric. We've got settings for the flight recorder. After a crash, we can either manually reset it pushing a button, or it will auto reset after 2 or 5 seconds. We can change what the right joystick does if we click it in. At the moment I'm sat down, so if the plane's flying at me and goes over my head, it would make sense to be able to click the thumbstick in and it would automatically turn me around 180 to be facing the aircraft. So it's basically like recentering yourself. Very, very useful if you're playing seated. You can have clicking the stick do nothing at all or bring up the menu. It really depends, but I think having the rotate towards plane makes the most sense. Right, so we've done the sim options. We'll go down to controls. We've got the RC radio mode. So mode 2 is basically like the default. Many people have done this as a hobby for a long time, and mode 2 wasn't the default. They might be used to a different mode. So the mode 2, we've got the throttle on the left stick, but you might want it on the right stick. So we can do mode 1, where the throttle is on the right, and there's mode 3 and mode 4. Just changes what the controls are doing. We've got spring loaded, so enable this when using a controller where the sticks return to center when released, like with the Quest VR controllers. You want to disable this if you're going to use external RC controllers. So yes, you can connect an external RC controller by USB or with a dongle wirelessly to the headset, and that'll give you finer control, and that would really, really help with flying like helicopters especially. So you can just buy one for the sim, but I think for many people they'll be wanting to use what they're going to use in real life for the hobby, so they get muscle memory. They'll remember which switch does what for the landing gear and the flaps, and they can do that by touch without having to look down and take their eyes off the expensive aircraft that they are flying. Now, me personally, I don't use an external RC controller. You can go onto the Discord and find out what people are using, what works, what doesn't. I've just got a gamepad, the 8BitDo Pro 2. Now, the developer said on the Quest 2 there's quite a lot of Bluetooth latency, but I haven't found that. I think it can depend from gamepad to gamepad. So for me, the Pro 2 pad is working really, really well. It's got multiple switches on the back for mode. So for the switch, there's an A switch, there's an X and a D. So X input, direct input. I compare it to my PC, to the VR headset and my Steam Deck, and just change that switch over depending what I want to pair it to. Very, very convenient. It works really, really well, and I prefer the gamepads. I don't actually like using these VR controllers to fly. We can get stick drift. A number of times I've had to put electrical contact cleaner down by the stick and twiddle it around to clean it out, I've lost count. I'm not impressed really with the VR controllers. So yeah, gamepad works well for me. Right, so we'll cut to doing some flying, shall we? Right, so as you can see, we're back at the home field. I've got the Spitfire set up to do some bombing. We've got 100 candles out. We've got our water bombs. I've laid the VR controllers down, turned on my Bluetooth gamepad. We will throttle up with the left thumbstick. Once we stop dragging that tail wheel, we can move the right thumbstick back to take off. What will be X on the Xbox gamepad, down that button for the landing gear to raise and lower it, and A is for flaps, although in this mode it will also deploy the water bomb. So I'm going to loop around. We have to get used to the fact that as the plane comes towards us, it reverses the controls. Bombs away, that's a hit. So you need to get that muscle memory. It becomes second nature the more you do it. So if you want to do this as a hobby in real life, get as much practice as you can in Sims. Getting used to looping around, coming back, lining up with the airfield, so it's a good practice for landing as well. So bombs away, a little bit short. Oh, we might have got one. Thought it might have been a little short. So I can use the rudder to tighten my turns as well if I want to. I don't want to be going too fast. Yeah, we've got another couple there at the edge. So I can look down at my RC virtual controller to see what the plane's doing. I should crash really, just so you can see how it's modelled, how it looks. So bombs away. It's another hit. And we will crash. Right, so let's get those VR controllers, and I will bring up the menu, go to the aircraft. Let's have a quick look at the helicopters. So we've got the AH-64 Apache. Put the VR controllers down as I'm using the gamepad. So as I give it throttle, it's going to take off. There we go, and it will turn left and right with the left thumbstick. Pushing forwards with the right stick puts the nose forward. So we move forward, and if we move the nose up, we'll go in reverse. Now, ideally, I would like to be using an external RC controller, because you can leave the thumbsticks where you want them. This gamepad, it's recentering itself. I do like flying helicopters in Sims, but I'm used to using my feet for the rudder pedals, not my thumbs. I know how the controls work. Still, it's a skill. You have to learn how to fly these RC aircraft. Sim is a good way to go. So let's reset that. I just remembered, because we've got the speedboat as well. So if I go scenery, back to Venice at dawn, and then we can get the speedboat. Of course there is the yacht as well, but that isn't as fast. So we want the obstacle.
Have fun with this obstacle course on the water.
So throttle up, over the ramp. Oh, it flips it already. I did have an RC boat when I was a boy, but it was a bit of a pain because there wasn't really anywhere locally to take it. So I had to wait for my stepdad, to care enough to take us to the park to use it. But now we can have a bit of fun in VR. Round the balls. Let's try and line up with this ramp as well. I've heard people trying to launch the boats off the ramps and get them on land. Sounds ambitious. Oh, I just missed it. I see another boat off in the distance. That's a nice little touch. Never noticed that before. So there we go, guys. So it gives you an idea. As I say, it can be free. Spend as little as you like, or as much as £14, whatever that'll be in dollars or currency around the world. So have a great day, have a great evening, whatever it is you choose to do after watching this. And as always, I'll see you when I see you next. Ciao for now.